Hi, I'm Todd Nash, President of the Oregon Cattlemen's Association, here today with Representative Bobby Levy. And Bobby, you represent House District 58. We appreciate you getting on today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Todd. I appreciate you having me on. So as you said, I represent House District 58, which is most of Umatilla County, all of Union County, and all of Wallowa County. So I was born in LeGrand, raised in Hermiston. My dad was a railroader, and my husband's family comes from Union, most of them, and they've got old historical stuff there as well. And a lot of my family still lives in the LeGrand, Baker, Union County area. So yeah, I've been pretty active in the state and pretty active in the county. What else would you like to know about me?
Well, I think I'd like to know what inspired you to run for a state representative office.
I think I was nuts. No, not really. Offhand, I can say that, Bob Jensen, former state representative, was my mentor. And we were good friends. He was my teacher at Blue Mountain Community College. He taught me sociology. And that was a big wake-up call for me when I was very young. I was in my 20s when he was teaching me. And we kept off being good friends. And so when I graduated from Blue Mountain with my associate's degree, he challenged me to keep doing something better, not just sit back and do nothing with my life. He thought that there was things in life that everybody could do to make your state or your community better. And so I went and got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. And then my neighbor, my mother-in-law's neighbor across the street said, I have a really good job for you. And I said, what is that? He says, I think you should apply to be on Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. And so Carter Kearns got me to sign up for that. And Governor Kulongoski, I'm not sure if it was a strike of on his part of good thinking or bad thinking, pointed me to the commission. And that's where I met you and a couple of other farmers. That was in ranchers. That was my first foray into the wolf situation that we now live with daily. And as you'll remember, it was not an easy thing for any of us to start that process. So with that, I would go home and complain to my husband daily that, farmers and ranchers and the people on our side of the state were kind of not taken seriously. And Bob said to me, well, then do something about it. Quit whining, do something about it. So my girlfriends and I started inviting people to our house, and they turned out pretty good, these meetings. We'd have people from all up and down the I-5 corridor, department heads, people, legislators, people who were business leaders who influenced those legislators to vote and do things that were not beneficial for us on our side of the state. And so one night Bob said, I've had enough of these late night things at our house. Why don't you girls start a real business and do something about it? So we started Eastern Oregon Women's Coalition. And as you know, we've been pretty successful working across the aisle to try to educate people about the things that are important to us over here on this side of the state. And then when Bob Jensen got ready to retire, he said to me, would you please run in my position? I would be honored if you would do it. Well, my family said, no, you're not doing that. We only have 8 grandchildren then, and they were young and they wanted me to be around and do things that grandparents were supposed to do. And they thought Eastern Oregon Women's Coalition kept me busy as it was. And then when Greg Baroto decided to retire, I had other people call me and say the same thing. You need to run. And so by that time I had 13 grandchildren. We have 14 now. The kids said, yeah, it's time. Go ahead, go for it. My husband was very supportive, except for one thing. He says, I've been in Salem under all the last Democratic governors on every kind of transition committee. I am not coming to Salem for you. I will support you in every way you want, but I'm staying home. You go to Salem. And so lo and behold, here I am. People elected me. Some days it's a really tough job, and some days it's really a lot of fun. Most of the time for me, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Bobby, we appreciate you stepping into the fold there and taking that position on, because you were truly one of our champions down there. Bobby, do you have any legislation that you want to see supported this year, or do you have any bills yourself that you want to run this year?
Well, I actually I have a list here. Let me see if I've got them down correctly. We're working with ODF&W and Oregon Department of Ag on some legislation that has to do with the wolf plan, staying within the plan, and making sure that it actually gets done and the proper way, so that the people that are affected by wolf depredations actually have the wherewithal to file for the cost of losing, an animal that has been a confirmed loss. And then range rider expenses. And we're working with, I have a bill to change the makeup of the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife Commission. And it has not been changed since we started the commission. Now they only have 2 districts. Before they used to have, I believe, 7 districts. And we're going to try to go and make that be more equitable across the state, so everybody has a representation, and so that all the natural resources are covered. And we're going to make that so that if you're fishing, or if you're a cattle rancher, or you're a farmer, or you're in water, or in any of the natural resources, that those are the people that represent the members of the people around the state. And we've been working with Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they have also helped us come up with this legislative concept. So I'm pretty excited about it. They think it's a really good idea, and they're looking forward to helping us get that passed. There's a couple of things that I really, really hate. And they're not legislative stuff, but they're measures that are coming before us as a vote. And one of those is Measure 114. It takes away more of our Second Amendment rights, where it becomes more onerous for us to own guns. It's going to require a permit to get any kind of a firearm. Every single time you buy a firearm, you will need to get a permit. It's going to waste more taxpayer money, because we're going to be in the courts all the time battling for our Second Amendment rights. The sheriffs don't want us to pass this bill, because they estimate it's going to cost them about $4 million or more a year. And then the criminals, of course, they're not going to go file for a permit. They're not going to ask if they can carry a concealed weapon. Then we have Measure 111, and it basically bans all private healthcare and has the government run the healthcare system, which you and I both know, if that happens, then the people that are going to pay for it is all the tax-paying people of the state. And that's going to be a big, huge expense. They've tried it before with Obamacare, and that failed in Oregon. And they tried it with Oregon, can't remember the name of the plan that was under under Kitzhaber, but that failed as well. And it was too expensive. And then we have Measure 113, which is ridiculous, because Measure 113, what it says is, if you have a legislator misses 10 days of unexcused absences, then they don't get to run for office again. And really what they're wanting to do is eliminate the ability to stand up for our legislative people. So if there was a bill that came for, now we're in the super minority. So I'm a Republican, I'm in the super minority right now. And this bill, Measure 113, is brought on by the unions, and the teachers' unions specifically. And so if the teachers miss 10 days in a row, should they be allowed to not run be a teacher the next year? because a lot of teachers strike, and right now they're being encouraged to strike in a couple of different school districts if they don't get some of the stuff that they want for their pay raises. So how does that not apply to us as well? That's a really bad bill. So if we have somebody who doesn't like us, that is the Speaker of the House or the President of the Senate, they're the ones that okay our leaves. So if we ask for a leave of absence for 2 days because we're sick, and they say, oh no, you're not getting those 2 days off because you're sick, you need to show up and you can't show up. Those are now 2 unexcused absences. We also have legislators that are on the Ways and Means Committee, and they miss a lot of votes because they're in those Ways and Means committees. And those are considered excused absences. But a lot of people don't look at that. I missed some days my very first legislative session because I had surgery. I think I missed 152 votes. I was lucky. All those votes were excused. But according to the people that want Measure 113 to go through, that would be a reason to not have me vote or not have me be a legislator again if they could get the speaker, since I would be under the House side, say, no, those are not excused absences.
Okay, well, that's all really interesting, and those things are important as we give a keen eye to our ballots here, and thanks for that. Bobby, you've been an outspoken supporter of Christine Drazen. How would her election impact the legislature and state agencies both?
Well, I'm a very big supporter of hers, as you know. On day one, she'll undo everything that Kate Brown did with the stroke of a pen in DEQ. Everything that affects us, makes it negative for our side of the state. And she'll be very conscientious with our budgets, overspending, and she'll rein in the budgets. She's going to work on very, very diligently on getting the homelessness crisis, and it is a homeless crisis across our state, and helping with that. Homelessness has a lot to do, and we see it over here in Umatilla County, and it's starting to show up more and more in Union County and more in Wallowa County, I think. People coming and not having a place to live. And some of that has to do with the drug crisis that we have going on because of Measure 110. So she has talked about helping us to repeal parts of that measure in order to make it be what it was really meant to be, was a mental health process for people to get mental health care. Instead, what Measure 110 did was it made it easier for people to get addicted to drugs and die from overdoses of fentanyl, and they're not required to go to drug court. And that was the biggest mistake that we ever made, was passing Measure 110, because now we have people that are in crisis all over the state because they're addicted to drugs and now they're homeless. People have kicked them out of their home, or they've lost their job, or, and we've seen over the last 3 years, the mental health crisis in Oregon grow exponentially. So she has vowed to veto things that are inappropriate for our state, should it be passed in the legislature. Excessive spending. And I actually believe that because she has such a wonderful opportunity and the numbers are so positive for her to become governor, it will trickle down in our opportunity to take the House and the Senate.
Okay, well, thanks. Bobby, I want to give you just a few minutes to talk about whatever Bobby Levy wants to talk about here, and we'll wrap this up, but really appreciate you coming on here today, but it's yours for whatever you want to do.
Well, I'm tickled to be the state representative. I actually am. I really enjoy this job. For the most part, it's a wonderful job. I love meeting all the people that I've met and working with all of the different county commissioners and all the other constituents. And I'm very appreciative of all the emails I get from all the different people that email me. And I get them from all over the state. I don't just get them from my side of the state and from my district. Um, I've enjoyed going around the state and meeting other people and doing some tours that are really important to my district in other people's districts because they affect what goes on in our district as well. Um, I'd really like to see some of the state agencies get changed. And I'm really looking forward to working with Christine and working with her group of people as she gets them hired. And we have better state agencies that really have to work with the people in the state instead of saying, it's my way, no, and you don't get a count. You have to do what we say. And they've run amok for far too long. And it's time to rein them in. And I'm really looking forward to that part of having a Republican governor. It'll make a big difference. It'll take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But at least with a Republican governor, the changes will be made to be more. The key word in Oregon and across the US is equitable. And rural Oregon needs equitable. That should be our keyword. We want to be treated equitably and not less than. And so I want to continue fighting for that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on today, of course, and all the work that you do for us. I look forward to working with you this session. And I don't have anything else other than have a good day.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it. You have a great day as well.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.